Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream as we are well into the festive period in the Premier League. Villa Park hosts a huge encounter as Aston Villa take on Manchester United for a vital 3 points. Aston Villa have flipped their season completely on its head after a horrid start which saw Emery's side not score in their first 4 league matches of the season. But now, after 10 wins from their last 11 in the Premier League, they have jumped up to third in the table and are right on the backs of both Manchester City and Arsenal. After 16 league games this season, Villa have already achieved half of their tally from last season, currently sat on 33 points. For the Red Devils, it is only one defeat in their last 10, but a handful of draws have slowed down their progress, with recent home draws to Bournemouth last time out and also to West Ham United under Nuno Espirito Santo. Amorim will want more of the same with their attacking play after 4 goals against the Cherries on Monday night, but defensive frailties continued as they have not kept a clean sheet since the beginning of October. This fixture has been in the favour of Manchester United in recent times as they are unbeaten in their last 6 against tonight's opposition, a run from November 2022 to the current state now when they last played in May of 2025. In 60 Premier League meetings, Villa have only won 5, and 3 of them being at home in November 2022, which was Unai Emery's first game in charge, then in August 1995 and November 1992. So, with Villa favourites, but United with just 1 defeat in their last 10, which team will take a huge 3 points to celebrate over Christmas? They are flirting with a title race currently. Aston Villa on a unbelievable run of form. They have won 6 of their 8 games at home in the Premier League, beating Arsenal and beating Manchester City. They've won 10 of their last 11 in the Premier League. That game where they didn't win, it was a 2-0 defeat away at Anfield when Liverpool were kind of in their crisis, and they went to Anfield and kind of didn't play to Liverpool's weakness, kind of wanted to play their own way, which suited Liverpool a little bit more, and they were caught out, and they a couple of sloppy goals to concede gave Liverpool the 3 points that day. But it's just a sensational run at the moment. 9 wins in a row in all competitions. It's absolutely incredible from that defeat to Liverpool, which was on the 1st of November. They have also lost just 2 of their last 18 in all competitions, because before they lost to Liverpool, they also lost in the Europa League away to Go Ahead Eagles on the 23rd of October. But it's an unbelievable run on 33 points. If they win, they'll go 1 point behind second, which is currently Manchester City, who are on 37 points, and they'll go 3 behind Arsenal, who are in first after their win last night against Everton. It was a pretty difficult watch, I thought. I think Everton could have played for another 48 hours and wouldn't have scored. They just didn't look like scoring at all. Arsenal got their goal, even though it was from a penalty. They got their goal, probably could have had a few more, and they were able to score their 3 points. For Manchester United, if they win, they can go 5th alongside Liverpool on 29 points. They'd go above Liverpool, I believe, on goal difference. So it would be a move in the right direction. But it does seem at the moment, every time Manchester United have a chance to get up the league table, get in towards those European spots, your Champions League and Europa League positions, they just don't take it. Prime example, Bournemouth on Monday night drawing 4-4, when they drew to West Ham as well, drawing 1-1, and then their defeat at home to Everton as well. It does seem like games at home, when they've got a chance to move up the table, they're just not taking their chances, and they should be a team like Everton, because they had 10 men for a majority of the game. West Ham, they should have had so many more goals, and West Ham just stayed in the game and nicked a goal on a set piece. And then we commentated on the Bournemouth game on Monday, and that, to be fair, they did really well to get back in that game, Manchester United, because before the Bruno Fernandes free kick, which made it 3-3, the game really sort of died on the spot. There was nothing in it. Bournemouth weren't exactly looking for another goal. Manchester United just couldn't get going, and then a moment of brilliance from Fernandes from the free kick, just flipped it, then scored 2 minutes later again. But defensive struggles for Manchester United cost them that game. Junior Krupi's goal, which was really well taken from the young Frenchman, but the way he was able to get in between 2 Manchester United centre-backs to get the space to score just was not good enough at all. This is both teams' last game, of course, before Christmas. Manchester United are playing in the only Boxing Day game this season in the Premier League. They host Newcastle in 5 days' time, and then a day later On the 27th, Aston Villa play. They travel to Chelsea. They've got a difficult run of fixtures coming up. Aston Villa, their next 6 Premier League games are Chelsea away, Arsenal away, Forest at home, Palace away, Everton at home, Newcastle away. That's a difficult run for Aston Villa. So if they are serious on wanting to challenge for the Premier League title, potentially, this run is going to define that, because of course they've got Europe as well to deal with in the Europa League, winning 5 of their 6 so far in that competition. But it's a big game for both. Manchester United are doing a lot better than last season, of course. Finished 15th last season. It was their fewest points since 1974, when they achieved 32 points and were relegated. Thankfully for you Manchester United fans, they weren't relegated last year, but they weren't far off at one point. Even Ruben Amorim couldn't really spring them up the table last season, but he's kind of got them a bit more solid this season, scoring a lot more goals. It's just the defensive side they're still struggling with. Brought in a better keeper in Senna Lomans, but he's not kept a clean sheet since his debut in a 2-0 win at Old Trafford against Sunderland. We'll go through both teams. We are waiting for the two sets of lineups to arrive out of the tunnel onto the pitch at Villa Park. And we'll start with Aston Villa, who made just one change from their last game last weekend against West Ham in a 3-2 away win. And it is in goal. Marco Bizot comes out and Emi Martinez returns. He's missed 2 of the last 3 league games against West Ham and Brighton. He did play that game against Arsenal, but missed the last one away at West Ham. Wasn't a miss. In the end, they were able to win, but they'll be very thankful the 33-year-old is back in the starting 11. It'll be a back 4 of Matty Cash, and on the left-hand side will be Ian Matson. Then 2 centre-halves, a former Manchester United defender, Victor Lindelof, who's making his 200th Premier League appearance. He'll play alongside Ezri Konsa, who's currently collected 17 caps so far for England, scoring against Serbia in the September international break. 2 holding midfielders of Abubakar Kamara, and alongside him will be Amadou Onana, who's making his 50th Aston Villa appearance. 3 behind the striker. On the right hand side will be John McGinn. On the left will be Morgan Rogers, who's featured in every game so far this season in all competitions for Aston Villa. In the number 10 position will be Yuri Tielemans, who's waiting to score his 10th Aston Villa goal of his career after joining in July 2023. And leading the line through the middle, like Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins is also featured in every game so far this season, scoring 3 times in the Premier League. A brace away at Brighton in one of their more recent wins at the beginning of December, and also once against Fulham at the end of September. He's making his 4th start in a row in the Premier League. 3 changes for Manchester United, all enforced. Their goalkeeper and 3 centre-backs stay the same, with Senna Lomans in goal, with 3 centre-backs of Lenny Yoro making his 50th Manchester United appearance. Alongside him will be Aidan Heaven and Luke Shaw. 4 in the midfield at the right wing-back position will be Diogo Dalot. He swaps for Ahmad Diallo. Dalot was playing on the left wing-back position. Dorgu comes in to take that position, as Ahmad, of course, goes to the Africa Cup of Nations. 2 central midfielders, Bruno Fernandes, who's on 5 goals now for the Premier League season. He scored 8 in all of last season. He'll play alongside Manuel Agarte, who comes in for Casemiro, who is suspended after picking up his 5th yellow card on Monday night. 3 up front on the right-hand side will be Mason Mount, who has got 3 in his previous 9 against Aston Villa. On the left will be Mateus Cunha, who's got his 2nd Manchester United goal on Monday. His previous one was against Brighton on the 25th of October. And leading the line through the middle, starting once more, and it is Benjamin Sesko, who is up front. He's signed for a fee of £73.7 million, a complete deal that is, including the add-ons. And he's got 2 league goals so far this season. They came in back-to-back games against Sunderland and Brentford. And he was out for the previous 4 after his injury against Spurs, but he came off the bench on Monday night and he's now starting at Villa Park. They need him scoring consistently if they can, because of course Brian Mbeumo is out away at the Africa Cup of Nations. So kick-off is just less than a minute away. Manchester United, a lot different from the last time they faced Villa. Villa have only got 2 changes from the last time they played United at Old Trafford on the 25th of May. Pau Torres is out injured, so Lindelof is obviously coming for that one. And Asensio was playing in the number 10 position, and he's now been swapped out in this starting 11 for Tielemans. So there's not been a whole host of changes for Aston Villa. Of course, they brought in a couple of signings in the summer, just 5 altogether, same as Manchester United. But Manchester United have only got 4 starters from last season against Villa in this game right now. Heaven, Fernandes, Dorgu and Mount. The ones missing are Bayindir, Lindelof, Maguire, Mazraoui, Casemiro, Ahmad and Højlund. So it's been quite a lot of changes for Manchester United from the last time they played Villa. They beat Villa that time 2-0 at Old Trafford after a controversial goal was disallowed for Morgan Rogers, where Bayindir didn't have two hands on the ball, and it was disallowed because the referee blew his whistle before Rogers had put it in the net. And then from there, Ahmad scored moments later in the 76th minute, and then Eriksen scored a penalty in the 87th minute, which pretty much cost Aston Villa Champions League football. Didn't help themselves in that game because Emi Martinez was sent off right before half-time, but a very legitimate goal was disallowed. As Michael Oliver is tonight's referee, aged 40 years old, got into refereeing at the age of 14, and he has got a ref cam on. You can see the little camera just to the side of his head. So that will be interesting to view. Seeing kind of, maybe, do we hear any conversations? I highly doubt it. But it's just to see kind of the view he gets from seeing certain challenges and certain incidents on the pitch, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of incidents throughout the game. As we are going to get underway at Villa Park, it will be Manchester United kicking right to left, Aston Villa left to right in their home kit, and Manchester United in their away kit, a white top and dark purple shorts and socks, as it will be Matheus Cunha to get us underway as he kicks the ball all the way back towards the edge of the area to Senna Lomans, who's got plenty of time to send the ball forward. It's high, it's out to the right-hand side, it's towards the far side of the pitch, where it's headed on by Dallo, then headed away by Anana, and it'll be a Manchester United throw-in midway side the Aston Villa half at the beginning of this huge game, where Aston Villa want to keep pressure on Manchester City and Arsenal, and Manchester United want to get themselves in towards the top 5 and try and chase down one of those Champions League positions. As on the right wing position, Mount has gone down after a bit of a physical challenge from Ian Maatsen, and that'll be a free kick for the away side. On the far side, brilliant position to get a cross into their box. Just some early pressure being applied by the travelling side. And of course it'll be Bruno Fernandes stood over it, their captain, their forever present creative midfielder, currently on 7 assists for the season. Bruno Fernandes in the Premier League, 4 in his last 4. Right arm raised, one-man wall of John McGinn. Ball goes in, it's dealt with first man by Ian Maatsen, or as far as Dorgu, who goes back out to Fernandes on the right. He's going to try and recycle it into the box with his left foot. It hangs in the air, it's headed away by Cash, volleyed by Kamara, but the flag's up on Lenny Yoro, and it'll be a free kick on the edge of the area for Aston Villa. 90 seconds in, it's been a bright start from Ruben Amorim's team, who is without the likes of Mazraoui, Ahmad and Mbeumo due to AFCON. Mainu is out with an injury that he picked up yesterday. Apparently it was a calf problem. Of course, there was a little bit of drama from the Mainu camp after the Bournemouth game. His brother posting a picture on social media of him wearing a t-shirt which says "Free Kobbie Mainu." And then the next game he's not in the squad due to an injury. I'm not too sure, because if I was Ruben Amorim, I probably wouldn't have liked to see that picture circulating online. But you just don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But Mainu was out due to a small calf injury, so there's a few of the academy players making the bench. The likes of Jack Fletcher, who is the son of Darren Fletcher, who's working very closely at the club in his role. Also Bendito Mantato, who is a young winger, and Tyler Fredrickson as well, as Cunha shoots from afar, and it almost wraps into the top right-hand side of the goal. So close from Matheus Cunha, as the ball was chased down by Mount, played it through the middle, it came off the boot of Lindelof, and it ended up just laying it off perfectly for Cunha, who just latched onto it first time, tried to bend it in towards the right-hand side of the goal, but it just went wide. Ref cam shows how close it was, because Michael Oliver's right behind it. Just started it too far outside the post there, Cunha, because Martinez was flat-footed, he didn't move a muscle. Manchester United certainly starting the better 3 minutes in, but it's still Aston Villa 0, Manchester United 0. As they just can't get out their own half at the moment. A clearance down the line can be seen out for a throw-in by Patrick Dorgu. That would have been 2-2 for Mateus Cunha, who's just slowly getting into his rhythm in a Manchester United shirt. He has scored 2 against Aston Villa in his career, and they came home and away last season in a 3-1 away defeat, but then in a 2-0 home win later on in the season. Bit of a derby that, Aston Villa against Wolves, as McGinn's broke Rodgers through and free. He plays it to his left to Watkins, who tries to get onto his right foot, but Aidan Heaven comes across to cover and makes a huge tackle, which deflects through to Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Heaven's still down, as he did collide right into Watkins. Dorgu also down after a McGinn challenge, and in a left centre-back position. He'll be a Manchester United free kick. Definitely feeling the effects of that one, Heaven. It just broke for McGinn, who found Rodgers central free, with no one really closing him down. He slips it through for Watkins, who just drifted towards the left-hand side. Heaven followed him all the way alongside Yoro, and as he tried to get onto his right foot, Heaven put a foot in. I think Watkins almost missed the ball because Heaven nicked it away and then kicked through into Heaven's leg, who looks like he'll be okay to continue. One of his 2 starts last season in the league came against Aston Villa in that final game of the season, which of course Manchester United won by 2-0. The last time these 2 sides met here at Villa Park, it was a 0-0 back in early October. It was just game week 7 of the Premier League. There was just the one shot on target in the entire game, so we're going to hope for a bit more of a entertaining affair this time around, as a header on the halfway line is won by Tielemans. Rodgers just plays it behind Maatsen, but he can keep it away from Dalot on the halfway line and goes into his own half to the former United man of Victor Lindelof. Played 284 times for United, joining in 2017 from Benfica and leaving on a free in the summer, as McGinn battling with Shaw, and it's Luke Shaw to come out with the ball, and Fernandes in the centre circle works it to his right to Ugarte, who's back in for his first start since Manchester United's away defeat to Brentford at the end of September. He'd only played 1 of the last 5 games, Ugarte, and that was as a substitute against West Ham. As Dalot tries to go up front to Šeško, but it's took away from him, and it's now with Martinez to Onana on the edge of the box. Now with the left-back Maatsen, back through to Onana. On his 50th appearance for the club, lays it off to his left to Rodgers. Tielemans is free on the halfway line, finds him, wants the 1-2, just slightly overcooked pass from Tielemans, and it's dealt with by Heaven. To Dalot into the middle towards Fernandes, who's caught by Kamara just inside his own half, and that'll be free kick for Bruno Fernandes. Benjamin Šeško looking to get a first goal since the start of October. His last one came against Sunderland in that 2-0 win, which seems a really good result now because, of course, Sunderland are having a flying season so far, winning the derby against Newcastle last week and picking up a pretty solid point away at Brighton as well yesterday. It was back underway just under 7 minutes in, still Villa 0, Man United 0, but it is the away side who have certainly started the better of the two. See if that will continue. Ugarte on halfway, tackled by Tielemans, and the counter-attack's on. Onana, options left and right. Onana 25 yards out, slots it to the right to McGinn, who hits it first time. Big save from Lomans, and the second strike superbly blocked by Heaven. He's had a lot to do in the opening 7 minutes, the young centre-back, but on a couple of occasions he's come in to save Manchester United. Sloppy from Ugarte on the halfway line. I think Onana did pick the right option of McGinn on the right-hand side, who was free to have the shot in the box. Tried to curl it to the far post. It was a strong hand from Lomans, but it dropped straight to Watkins about 6 yards out. And as he tried to shoot, Heaven got across and blocked and concedes the corner. And it's going to be an in-swinger from the captain, John McGinn. Plenty of height in there for Aston Villa. Goes in towards the near post. It's all the way through to the far post where Maatsen can shoot, and it's come off Rodgers and just goes wide. Mightily close from Aston Villa, who've really seen their first sight of goal, and they probably should have gone 1-0 up. McGinn towards the near post. It just bounced through everyone. Didn't take a touch until it dropped to Maatsen, who just slashed it across goal. It was going off target, but Rodgers just helped it closer to goal, and it just seems to just skim the post potentially and go wide, and it's 0-0. Both teams are now definitely in this game. They have both settled in, warmed up, And hopefully we might have another 4-4 like Monday night. No, I think we're being greedy with a 4-4, but certainly we want goals in this game. But it's just not a fixture Aston Villa like. 60 previous meetings in this division in the Premier League era, 5 wins, 3 of them at home. Their worst run in this fixture was a run of 17 games without a win between February 2010 and May 2021. There's Dalot battling on the right-hand side, into the box away from Kamara. Anana comes across. Does he get the last touch? No, he doesn't, because he deflects it back off Dalot. And it'll be a goal kick for Aston Villa. Just ticking over the 9th minute. Still goalless, like I say, at the meeting between these two last season at Villa Park did end 0-0. About 14 draws in this fixture in the Premier League in those 60 previous meetings. As Martinez sends it high out towards the left, straight over the head of Maatsen. Throwing midway inside the Villa half for Manchester United on that far side. And they're both managers barking instructions. Unai Emery, age 53. Ruben Amorim, age just 40, turns 41 at the end of January. Only retired from playing football in 2017, taking charge of his 60th Manchester United game since joining in November of last year. Only lost 2 of his first 7 in charge of Manchester United, but then went on a run of 4 losses in a row after that. And they've only won 14 of the previous 43 he's took charge in the Premier League. 6 of those 14 wins being away from Old Trafford. There's going to be a long throw-in here for Manchester United to take, just ticking over the 10th minute. And it'll be Dalot to throw it in towards the 18-yard box, headed in the air by Heaven. Second header won by Kamara. Back through to Dalot on the right-hand side. He will float a ball in towards the back post. It's an easy catch for Martinez, who wants to try and set away Aston Villa as quickly as possible. Rolls it 10 yards in front of him to Kamara. Touches poor. Good sliding challenge from Mason Mount. And it's now with Cunha. Goes to his left to Fernandes. Everything to his right now for Dorgu. Plays it to Cunha. Returns it to Dorgu. Keeps it away from Tielemans. And crosses in with pace. But it's another easy catch from Martinez in the 6-yard box. And it remains 0-0. But it's been a lively start from both. Martinez is going to go for a big kick forward beyond the halfway line, aiming for Watkins over his head, but headed away by Heaven to Fernandes, who heads it out wide left to Dorgu, just inside the Villa half, turns back towards his own goal to keep possession. It's now with the number 23, Luke Shaw, who's only ever lost once away from home against Aston Villa, and that was in Unai Emery's first game for the club. His first 2 games for Aston Villa were against Manchester United, beating them at home in the Premier League, and then in the following week they played in the League Cup, and Manchester United were victorious in that one by 4-2. As Dalot just inside the Villa half on that right-hand side, lifts it over the top towards Šeško, who can't quite control it, bounces through for Martinez. It's a thumbs up there by Benjamin Šeško, who scored 13 Bundesliga goals last season, 5 in a row from December to January. Not quite got going so far in a United shirt. Obviously suffered with injury very recently as McGinn, almost in a right-back position, plays it to the edge of the box to Kamara, forward to Tielemans, brought down illegally by Ugarte, and that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa. As in the Scottish Premiership, it is Celtic 1, Aberdeen 1, with 10 men Aberdeen as well. They've equalised in the 75th minute. That game's got 6 minutes to play. Wilfred Nancy still looking for his first Celtic win. That's his 5th game in charge. Wonder how long he will survive. As Aston Villa play out from the back with their left centre-half of Victor Lindelof. High ball over the top for Watkins. Finds him perfectly, but then Aiden Heaven again kicks it behind for a corner. It was a tackle that was needed. Watkins well found by Lindelof. Watkins just dropped a little bit deeper towards the halfway line, then spun around Heaven, which gave him the space in behind. Heaven was able to recover and get the tackle in, but that's really clever number 9 play there from Ollie Watkins, who was scored just the once against Manchester United, and that was in the League Cup meeting back in November 2022. He's never actually scored against them in the Premier League. Was sent off against them in a 3-1 defeat in the May of 2021 as the corner goes to McGinn at the near post, tries to spin and cross. Fernandez stops it. And that'll be another corner for Aston Villa on the far side. Youri Tielemans, the one stood over it. Started 4 of the last 6 since his return from injury. He had a calf problem between September and November. Back firing as he puts it into the near post. Header won by Fernandez straight to Kamara, who will play it to his right to Cash. Not many options for him. He'll try and get the cross in. It floats towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Easy catch for Lomans, who will roll it to his left here to Dallows in the opposite flank. But that's where he's been playing the last couple of games when Ahmad was available. But of course he's gone off to Morocco for the Africa Cup of Nations to represent the Ivory Coast. As here is Aidan Heaven making his 10th ever Premier League appearance. Started at West Ham, Aidan Heaven, then spent 6 years at Arsenal before leaving in January of this year for the Red Devils. Dorgu on halfway, being pressed quickly by Cash, and it's fairly won back by Matty Cash. Well, that's what I think the referee thought originally, but then he quickly changed his mind as Cash was bursting away with the ball. The Polish right-back, of course, arguing his case that it wasn't a foul. Let's have a look. Dorgu had it, just took a bit too long. Looks like he might have nicked the ball there. Did make contact with Dorgu as well. I think it was probably the assistant who may have given that, because it didn't look like Michael Oliver was going to give that at the beginning there, but quickly pulled it back. As it's Manchester United on the ball, 15 minutes in, still goalless at Villa Park, as they announced plans to upgrade the stadium, make it even bigger with its capacity, planning to try and get it up to 50,000 seats if possible. They announced that in April 2025. Not sure when the plans are to begin the work with that. It's Cunha on the edge of the area. Touch is really poor. Bobbles up, and it's Kamara to deal with it. But they can't link up with Tielemans, and it's won back by Manchester United. Shaw forwards Cunha. Takes it on the turn brilliantly. Plays it to his left in the box to Dorgu. 1-on-1 with Cash. Goes on the outside. Tries the cross. Comes off Cash. Then back off Dorgu. Goal kick for Villa. Been pretty even so far. Villa have had kind of half sights of goal through Ollie Watkins, and Manchester United have also had decent spells of possession as well, as Celtic have took the lead with 2 minutes of the 90 to play. Kieran Tierney making it 2-1 against Aberdeen. 10 men they have the away side, but Celtic don't mind as long as they get a win under their new manager. As in the right back position, it's Cash. Konsa, what seems to be kind of orangey looking coloured boots for Ezri Konsa. Same on Victor Lindelof as well. It goes to the left back, Maatsen. Forward and down the line to Rodgers. Been rather quiet, and that touch won't help his case. Gives it away. Mount tackle from behind, but fairly by Anana, and that'll be throwing for the away side, who have won just 3 of their 8 games so far in the Premier League away from home. Currently won the last 2 in a row, Manchester United, against Wolves and Crystal Palace. Their one before that was against Liverpool at Anfield. Haven't lost any of their last 5, though, away in the Premier League, Manchester United. Just before the halfway line is Luke Shaw on the ball, forward in between the lines for Cunha. Firing it to the left of Dorgu, forced to go back to Luke Shaw, who's making his 275th Premier League appearance, well over the 300 mark now for Manchester United. He's been at the club for well over 10 years. Dorgu try to put it round the corner for Šeško. Header won by Lindelof. Straight to Maatsen, who needs to deal with the ball here, being closed down by the Slovenian striker, but he works it out towards the left for Aston Villa. Seems to have took the starting left-back spot off Luca Digne. Ian Maatsen, as the Dutchman has now started the last 4 league games in a row. It's Kamara. Switching it to the left. It's just behind Rodgers, but he'll be able to keep it in on the far side. Going inside to Maatsen. The touch is heavy. Just about keeps it away from Mount after sliding in strongly. Then clips it to the right wing to McGinn. Cash making a run inside. Tries to find him, but it's dealt with by Shaw in the box, who will just volley away for Manchester United, and it will just roll through to Ezri Konsa on the halfway line. Never scored in his previous 13 against Manchester United. Ezri Konsa, who's still got another 3 years left on his contract. 2.5 years, if you want to be precise. Konsa looking to try and play forward. He's got Šeško following him behind. Finds McGinn back into his own half now to Cash. Already scored at home against a club from Manchester. Scored in their win against Manchester City. Also scored in their win against Arsenal at home as well, Matty Cash. Never scored though against Manchester United in his career. Scored twice against City. You might remember the goal he scored against them at the Etihad in that very famous win for the blue side of Manchester when they were 2-0 down against Aston Villa, and then scored 3 pretty late goals, all quite close together. After Coutinho made it 1-0, 2-0 in the second half of that game, Cash made it 1-0 in the first half. As they tried a diagonal switch out to Rodgers, just straight offside. So free kick for Manchester United, just coming close to the 20th minute. We're still goalless, but it's been a decent start for both. Usually Manchester United do concede in the Premier League under Ruben Amorim. They've always kept the, I think it's, 6 clean sheets from their 43 league games under the Portuguese manager. And those 6 clean sheets came against Everton at home in December of last year, then against Fulham away in January 2025, Leicester away in March, City at home in April, Villa at home in May, and then Sunderland at home in October. So their last away clean sheet in the Premier League was against Leicester away from home in March of this year. That's 9 months ago. They need to be better at the back. Of course, they swapped their goalkeeper, and they've probably made an improvement on their goalkeeper. Senna Lommans does look a lot more composed and a bit better of a shot stopper, but they're still shipping a lot of goals in. Manchester United just the 1 clean sheet all season, and that was on Lommans' debut against Sunderland. Celtic 3-1 up against Aberdeen. They closed the gap to 6 points on Hearts, who won their game against Rangers a little bit earlier on. As Kamara turns away from Fernandes towards the edge of his own box, then zips it in towards Watkins. Header won by Heaven. Only as far as Tielemans on halfway. Goes back into the left back Maatsen. Forward to Rodgers. Tries to play it in behind towards Watkins. Again, well intercepted by Heaven, who's had a really strong start to the game, the youngster. Having to fill the boots of both Maguire and De Ligt, who's still out injured. And as he tried to play a pass towards the right-hand side, it's just behind Mount, throwing on the halfway line for Aston Villa. 18 Premier League wins for Manchester United here at Villa Park as Luke Shaw takes the ball off Rodgers, who was the target from the throw. Fernandes lifting it down the centre of the pitch. It goes all the way through for Šeško, and it's a big save from Martinez. Came out quick, big and strong, and closed down the Šeško shot as quickly as possible. Fernandes looking for his 5th assist in 5 matches in the Premier League. Just missed by Konsa towards the edge of the box, and it just went through for Šeško, who tried to put it under the legs of Martinez, but he got down quickly enough to save the ball as a long throwing goes in. Flicked the wrong way by Maatsen, volleyed in the air by Lindelof, and it will be caught by Martinez. It's definitely the biggest chance of the game so far. Dropping to the Slovenian number 30. Scored 4 goals in 8 in the Champions League last season, Benjamin Šeško, including a brace against Juventus. Bagged 21 goals in all competitions. The 22-year-old, as Yoro clears, clattered into by Tielemans. Play continues. Last touch off Anana. And it's a throw-in for Manchester United just inside their own half. Looks like it'll be taken by the number 2, Diogo Dalot, making his 5th start in a row in the Premier League. Throws it to Fernandes around the corner towards Mount. Touches it into Cunha, running down the centre of the pitch. He's got Dorgu free to his left. Tries to play it through for Šeško instead, who will get there, but the touch is heavy. He does avoid the goal kick, I believe. So it will be a throw in towards the corner flag. Just let himself down there with the touch, Šeško. And as he was bearing down on goal, it looks like maybe Cash and Martinez have collided with one another. Cunha with the pass, which probably just had slightly too much on it. I don't think so, actually. I think that was well weighted. It was just the touch from Šeško. Let himself down. It was with his left toe. He's just completely overhit the touch, but he's done well to avoid the goal kick. Cunha slightly frustrated with his striker there, not making more of that. But he's looking positive, Benjamin Šeško. And they'll need him to start firing with the fact that Brian Mbeumo's at AFCON. And their backup striker is Joshua Zirkzee, who's only scored once this season. That was in their away win at Palace at the end of November. Still receiving some treatment here, Martinez. Just looks like he did clatter into his own teammate as he came out. So, of course, close the angle down for Šeško. Bit of ref cam there. Showing the medical staff giving Martinez some treatment. Let's have a look. Šeško with the touch that went wide. And then, yeah, Cash, just the left knee went into the side of Martinez's head. Definitely a little bit of a sore one for the Argentine. He was only ever red card in his senior career. Came in that last fixture against Manchester United at Old Trafford, sent off right before half-time. Flying out of his box, and I think he took out Rasmus Højlund, if I remember rightly. And was sent off for that one. But he is a two-time Copa America winner, won the World Cup as well. Still got a contract at Villa till 2029, signed that last summer. Was linked with Manchester United in the summer just gone. Of course, never made the move in the end. They went for Senna Lomans instead. He has missed 3 of the last 4 games injured in all competitions, Martinez, so he will not want to come off this time around. The medical staff just definitely making sure he's okay and he's got his wits about him, because, of course, a knee straight into the side of the head can be a painful one. So he's back to his feet, Martinez. Of course, he can't go off to the side of the pitch due to the fact that he is a goalkeeper. Martinez is looking completely assured of himself that he can continue. John McGinn, the captain's now getting involved, because I think the medical staff have maybe got a different view. I'm not entirely sure. There might be a little bit of doubt. Marco Bizot is just warming up their backup goalkeeper, who has played a couple of the last handful of games due to the Martinez injury. Kept a clean sheet in the first game against Newcastle, which was 0-0. Then he's played a couple of the last games, conceding 5 goals, 2 against West Ham in the last one, and then, of course, against Brighton as well, the game before Arsenal. So the two medical staff there just still having a conversation between themselves as they walk away, and the play is back underway, 26.5 minutes in. It's still goalless at Villa Park. It's towards a right-back position with Cash, who sends it down the line and out of play, throwing just inside the Villa half for Manchester United, who have got to host 2 games back-to-back before the end of 2025. They've got Newcastle on Boxing Day and then Wolves on the 30th before their first game of 2026 is away at Leeds on the 4th of January. Yoro at right centre-back. Working it to the central centre-back of Aidan Heaven, just 19 years of age. Dealing with Watkins pretty well so far. Shaw towards Cunha, tackled by Cash, but drops back to Shaw, who will go across to Heaven. Being closed down by Watkins on the edge of the box, goes back to Lomans. Then to the left centre-back is Shaw, being closed down by Tielemans. Works into the middle to Fernandes, goes back into Agate. Drives forward with the ball, pulled back by Tielemans, keeps the ball moving. With Fernandes back on it, midway inside his own half, goes for a big switch out to the right, which controlled by Maatsen to keep it away from Mount. To Ezri Konsa at right centre-back, across to Lindelof. Midway inside his own half, goes forward to Rodgers, out to the left-back position of Ian Maatsen. Right-footed, lifted ball towards halfway, no one in a Villa shirt near it. Easy control for Fernandes. Works it to the right flank to Dalot. And then back to Yoro, just slows it down slightly. For Manchester United, still goalless at Villa Park, 28 minutes in. Sure. into the centre circle now with Heaven. Kicking it out towards the right. There's height on the ball, but it's perfectly weighted to Dallo, who controls. Goes inside to Cunha, about 30 yards from goal. Playing it forward to Mount. Allowed to turn, try to slip the ball through. Cut out by Conser. It's now with Miggin on the right-hand side, surrounded by Manchester United shirts. It's a good press, but he can use his body to keep it away from them. Now Tielemans on halfway, dragged to the ground by Agate. And that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa. Stay down just for the moment. Yuri Tielemans, who scored twice previously against Manchester United, both in home games for Leicester City. Did play the first and second leg in the Europa League quarter-final for Anderlecht when he was coming through as a youngster, Yuri Tielemans. They were knocked out after extra time in 2017, the year Manchester United went on and won the Europa League under Jose Mourinho. There's a ball in behind for Rodgers, will run right through to Senna Lomans. Full green kit tonight for the travelling goalkeeper. There's Agate. Ball on the floor to Mount. Keeps away from Anana. Still just in his own half. Goes to his left to Fernandez. Outside of the boot ball for Shaw, who will join in the attack. Into the Aston Villa half. Got Dorgu to his left. Everyone else is to his right. Spins around on the ball and just plays it back to Fernandez. Through to Dorgu. Back 10 yards into Shaw. Across to his right to Agate. Time on the ball for the Uruguayan. Tries the switch into the box. That is an absolutely horrific pass from Manuel Agate. And that'll be a goal kick for Aston Villa. The complete lack of quality there from the former PSG midfielder. It is rather scary. They paid over £50 million for that man. Really not showed himself to be any good, really, in the Premier League, Manuel Agate. So Martinez sends it long up towards the halfway line to Watkins, who can control it, but poorly. Allow Dallo to just nip in and take the ball off him, and it's now with Luke Shaw at left centre-back. Forwards the halfway line to Cunha. Keeping it away from Conser for now. Playing it into Dorgu, tried to flick it onto the runner. Cunha couldn't quite do so. Cash can't keep it in. Throwing on this near side for Manchester United. 9 Premier League games now without a clean sheet. Lomans has been forced into a save early on in this game. Miggin caught out by Dorgu in his own half. It's now Cunha, not many options with him. Will hold it up, be pulled back. Plays it to the right to Dallo. Cunha makes a run off the ball. Wanted it, didn't get it, went inside to Fernandez instead. Mount out to Dallo towards the final third. He's going to cross left-footed. It's too much of a floating ball. And it's easily caught by Emi Martinez. Just the 2 wins in 12 for him against Manchester United. One of them away from home in September 2021. You might remember that game when Fernandez blazed a penalty deep into the Stretford end. And then, of course, beating them in that 3-1 home win in November 2022, which was Unai Emery's first game in charge, as Heaven takes it off Watkins, but it drops straight to Kamara. Then forward to McGinn. Drifting over to the left-hand side, then playing it through towards Watkins. There was height on it, and the flicked header by Agate meant that United can survive and breathe. Agate on the ball in his own box. Left-footed ball, it's a high one, towards absolutely no one in a white shirt. And it will go through to Ezri Konsa. It's less than 32 minutes in, still 0-0 at Villa Park. Just holds under 43,000 at full capacity. Looking to win a 10th game in a row in all competitions, Unai Emery's side. Looking for his 90th Premier League win as a manager. Unai Emery, and if they win, 65 of them would have been for Aston Villa. Rodgers on the left flank. He's got Maatsen making an underlap, but Rodgers drives inside himself and will go for a shot. Straight down the throat of Senna Lomans. Didn't catch that at all. Morgan Rodgers, who's on currently 5 league goals for the season. 2 of them came last weekend against West Ham United. Scoring in the 50th minute to make it 2-2, and then in the 79th minute to win the game. Morgan Rodgers, who's waiting for his first ever goal against Manchester United, which I'm sure he'd love to score, formerly of Manchester City for 4 years, coming through the academy after spending the first part of his youth career with West Brom. Still with Manchester United, with their right centre-back on the halfway line of Euro. Speeding up play now with Dallo. Early cross goes in. Don't quite get his foot around it, but it will balloon out towards the opposite flank to Dorgu in the final third. Shields it away from Cash for now. Plays it back into Cunha. Tries to find the pass to Ugarte. Cut out by Watkins. Villa sat very deep, but they'll try and spring forward, but they can't as Cunha's took it off Kamara. The Brazilian is going to go for the shot! And it's palmed by Martinez. Cleared by Cash. Straight to Shaw, who controls, and Manchester United are going to go again. Mount, who's on the left wing position this time around. Works it to Dorgu. Back into Bruno Fernandes, who we know has a good delivery on him. That one's not the best, but the header isn't great by Lindelof. We dealt with in a left-back position by Maatsen, just slamming the ball clear. Controlled by Heaven, and that touch goes through to Fernandes. Now to Ugarte. Everyone behind the ball for what Villa, other than Ollie Watkins. Definitely they seem settled and calm when in possession in Villa's half. Manchester United. Cunha towards the corner of the box on the left-hand side, forced to go back to Shaw. Dorgu thought about the 1-2, but Cunha keeps it himself. It's now Ugarte. Certainly putting Aston Villa under pressure when they have possession, the away side, pinning them deep in their own half. Euro on his 50th appearance for Manchester United. It's actually his first against Villa. He missed both of the meetings against them last season with injury, because he missed the first 13 games of the season, injured last campaign Euro, and he missed the last 2 as well with injury. Dorgu on the left flank, crosses deep towards Dallo, who tries to touch it inside, well tackled by Maatsen, who again just gets rid. It has to be a long ball. Watkins will get there and bring it down on the left-hand side, shielding the ball away from Heaven, and then playing it to the supporting cast of Rodgers and Tielemans, who gets in each other's way. And it's now with Fernandes in the centre circle. Goes to the left to Cunha. Less than 10 minutes of the first half to play. Cunha in the box, left-footed, crosses. It's to the chest of Maatsen, who directs it towards his goalkeeper. And it will be Martinez to have the ball in his possession. For me, Manchester United definitely look the better out of the two sides to start this game. Just not much real goal mouth action going on. Trying to go direct Villa, and it's not worked out. It's now with Luke Shaw, whose last England appearance came against Spain in that Euros final. He's becoming a very important piece of this Manchester United puzzle at the moment. He started every Premier League game so far this season, completing the full 90 minutes in 50% of the games he's played. Still has it at left centre-back, midway side, his own half, goes back into Heaven. Brings it forward, needs to release it. It's intercepted by Tielemans, but deflects to Shaw, who then gets it forward to Cunha. Bit of space here on the halfway line for the former Wolves man. Wants the big switch out to Dallo. Is there enough on it? Though there isn't. Cut out by Maatsen. Well, as far as Euro, who will stride forward. Play the ball forward towards Mount. Tackled by Maatsen, cleared by Lindelof. Great touch from Tielemans. And McGinn's got space in the centre circle. In into the United half he goes. Try to keep it away there from Ugarte. Does just about. And releases it to Tielemans, who wants to shoot from afar. He tried to bend it to the right-hand side of the goal. Lomans didn't dive. Kind of knew that was going wide. And let it go for a goal kick. Just opened up slightly there for McGinn, but let himself down with his battle against Ugarte. But just about kept it moving. Tielemans from around 30 yards out was asking a lot of himself to try and beat Lomans. And he didn't. And United build from the goal kick. Luke Shaw on the left side of the box. Plays it into Dorgu, who's facing his own goal still. Tries to get it round the corner with his right foot. Cannon up in the air off Cash towards Onana, who can keep it moving forward to Tielemans. Got Ugarte putting him under pressure, and he puts a good tackle in and wins it back for Manchester United. Now Fernandes on the edge of the box, messing around with a ball. Tackled by Onana, and the referee don't like it. Free kick for Manchester United as we are edging closer to the half-time break. A little quick handshake between Onana and Michael Oliver, the referee. Not sure if that's a bit of a sarcastic handshake, thinking he got the ball there, Onana, or it was a handshake in terms of accepting the referee's decision. I'm Not entirely sure. Definitely a foul. Got man first, then the ball. Just needs to be careful though there. Bruno Fernandes. I know he's experienced to know when to release the ball and when not to, but he was just leaving it very late there. And ended up winning the free kick with a foul. As we're back underway. It's another big sliding challenge that time from Agate to tackle Tielemans. Throwing just inside their own half on the far side for the home side. Matson with the ball in his hands. Throwing down the line towards Watkins. Bounces over his head and Heavens. And it goes to Shaw, who can kick it back to his goalkeeper of Lomond. He's going to kick it long left-footed. Beyond the halfway line, down the centre of the pitch, looking for Šeško. He flicks on towards Mount. Header won, though, by Lindelof. Chested touches. Well done by Kamara. And then Cash tried to fire it inside towards McGinn, but straight to Fernandes, who is holding his right hamstring, and he's had to stop play. Ball kicked out by McGinn. This would be the worst case scenario for Manchester United if Bruno Fernandes has hurt himself. Holding the right hamstring, the last player they need to be injured is Bruno Fernandes. He has not suffered with many injuries during his time at Manchester United, if any. See if Aston Villa give Manchester United the ball back. I'm not sure if it was a bit of gamesmanship because Fernandes was under a bit of pressure there when he had the ball. And the ball's been given back to Manchester United. Very respectful from Aston Villa, but we will have to keep an eye out there on Bruno Fernandes. She needs to be moving okay just off the ball as it's Lomans in the 18-yard box. Shifts it to the right side to Yoro. Signed a 5-year deal when signing for United. Was interest from Real Madrid. Great switch to Dorgu on the opposite flank. It's now Cunha into Shaw just in front of the halfway line. Goes back into his own half to keep the ball away from the press of Aston Villa. Goes 5 yards to his right to Agate. It's now with Yoro. Those short dreadlocks. Lifting it down the right channel to Dallo, who can control it brilliantly. He's got Mount on the overlap. Goes on his own, on his left foot. Crosses. Punched by Martinez. Šeško was jumping. And he jumped high, but not high enough. Cunha on the edge of the box on the left-hand side. Thought about the cross. Opted to go back into the middle to Agate. Forward by Fernandes to Dorgu. Cunha. To Dallo. Cunha, edge of the box. Surrounded by Villa shirts and stopped by Matson, who can clear it. Played back inside to Fernandes by Shaw. Pressure still on. Tries to switch it towards Mount. Finds him brilliantly. Controls it well. Into the corner of the box to Cunha. Angles tight if he thinks about the shot. Going towards the byline. Plays it back to Mount. Well found. Squares it. Fernandes. Left-footed. And the shot deflects wide. Certainly looking the better. It must be said. Manchester United will probably be frustrated. They're not finding better chances to get themselves ahead. Mount with the square pass. Fernandes let it run across his body. And he went with a weaker left foot. And it was a vital block in the end from Konsa, because it looks like it was going towards that bottom left corner of the goal. So Fernandes still playing, grimacing though there. Might be in a bit of pain here. I'm guessing he'll see it through to half-time and then have a check with the medical staff as Mount goes very deep, too deep. And that'll be a goal kick. Actually, I think a free kick's been given within that. Yoro committing a foul potentially on the goalkeeper, Emi Martinez. Yes, he did. Yeah, free kick to Aston Villa. But even if it wasn't a free kick, it was a goal kick anyway. Bruno Fernandes. Just a quick chat there with Michael Oliver. Wonder what that one was about. Less than 2 minutes of the 45 left to go. not really got many players that can go into that central midfield position alongside Agate. They're pretty short in terms of an out-and-out central midfielder. The only one they've got close to that is Jack Fletcher, the 18-year-old, the son of Darren Fletcher, who joined a couple of years ago after firstly coming through at Manchester City. Long kick forward from Martinez. Can't be controlled by Rodgers. It goes through towards the corner flag here to Yoro, who'll have to keep it in because there wasn't enough pace for it to go out. Then gets it to Lomans, first time clearance to the halfway line. Lindelof gets the first contact, then headed out wide left by Fernandes, but straight to Cash on halfway. Going back towards his own goal. And playing it to the left centre-back of Lindelof on the edge of his own box. Finds Martinez in goal. Šeško pressing. Martinez clears left-footed out towards Rodgers. Header won by Yoro. Can't be controlled by Tielemans. Mount tackled by Onana fairly, even though Mount stays down. It's now McGinn in the centre circle, keeping it away from Shaw, then firing it to the left to Rodgers, who can try and bring it down, and he can. That's brilliant, just about keeps it in on that left-hand side, driving into the box, onto his right foot, and that is absolutely spectacular. Morgan Rodgers, the former Manchester City player, scores against the red side of Manchester at Villa Park. And that is why Thomas Tuchel is liking him for England in that number 10 position. At the moment, he's playing out on the left-hand side through Unai Emery. And he's delivering goals still. And that's one of his best. Which is quite something because he scored a cracker last weekend from far out against West Ham. All came from that Onana tackle on Mount. And then they got it forward to McGinn, who shielded the ball away from McGinn. And then, like I say, completely fired it towards Rodgers, who just about controlled it down and then kept it in on that left-hand side. It was too easy for him to get onto his stronger right foot. Yoro not doing enough at all to stop the shot. That is really bad defending again. Another game without a clean sheet for Manchester United, but he's gone to bend it to the far corner. Lomans rooted to the spot. Didn't even attempt to dive to stop it. And again, ref cam probably giving you the best angle. Michael Oliver was right behind it. And in a game where Villa have really struggled to get going, that has given them a massive lead in this game. It's Aston Villa 1, Manchester United 0. 4 minutes added on. We've already played a minute of it. And Rodgers with the goal. He's 6th of the season in the league. He's really hitting form. With 3 in his last 2. As Manchester United win a corner off Concert. Got to be question marks over the defending there of Lenny Yoro not getting tight enough, but you can't take anything away from the finish. It's his first ever goal against Manchester United for Morgan Rodgers. That's his 17th in the Premier League of his career. In his previous 16, he scored those 16 from an XG of 9.61, so a lot of his goals do come from chances which aren't really in his favour, and that would have been the same. Don't think there would have been a high XG on that as Fernandes tries to curl it to the far post, easily caught by Martinez, who wants to try and set his team off quickly. Has to just delay, and eventually he kicks it out towards the right to Kamara. Keeps it away from Cunha. Backheels it brilliantly to the right back of Cash, and the ball can be settled in Aston Villa possession. Now Victor Lindelof, who only started 6 times in the league last season for United. Started 2 of the last 2, which included that final day game against Manchester United against Aston Villa at Old Trafford. Cash in a right-back position in the defensive third. Being closed down by Dorgu. Tackled by Dorgu. Poke through. Cunha! 1-1. Huge mistake from Matty Cash. And Matheus Cunha cashes in and profits with a goal of his own. He's now scored in 3 games in a row against Aston Villa. Got 2 in 2 against them for Wolves last season. And he scores against them again. Assist from Dorgu, who was pressing brilliantly to nick the ball back in a dangerous position. In the defensive third, Cash has tried to play a ball down the line, then decided to try and cut inside. Dorgu read it, poked it forward, and it was straight to Cunha, who was already waiting towards the edge of the box, let the ball run forward, took his time, wrapped his right boot around it, firing it into the far corner. No chance for Martinez. Really poor goal to concede for Aston Villa. And the man to blame is Matty Cash. And right before the break, pretty quick after conceding, United are back level. It's Aston Villa 1, Manchester United 1. 2 games in a row now where Matheus Cunha has scored for Manchester United. His goal on Monday was to make it 4-3. Of course, this one is just to make it 1-1. It's an important equaliser. But Unai Emery will be frustrated with Matty Cash just giving the ball away so cheaply. As we've got 1 minute left. Oh, no, we've played the 4 added on. We might get a little bit extra just due to the fact that both goals have kind of come within added on time. So we've not played the full 4 yet. As it's United on the ball midway inside their own half with Aiden Heaven. Going to his left to short. Then back into Heaven. Sat in the middle of that back 3. Goes to his right to Yoro. Back to Lomans. We're now just waiting for the referee's decision of when the half should end. Ugarte. Out to the right to Dallo. Try to play it in behind, but he kicked it straight out of play. But that'll be enough for the referee. And the half-time whistle is blown by Michael Oliver. And at the break, it is Aston Villa 1, Manchester United 1. It's a game that certainly started in Manchester United's favour. They were certainly the team who started more brightly and more positively. But Aston Villa were able to grow into the game. Some decent battles between Aiden Heaven and Ollie Watkins kind of spurred Aston Villa further on into the Manchester United half. But it was actually the home side who took the lead right on half-time. Morgan Rogers receiving the ball from McGinn on that left wing position, cutting inside onto his right foot, and in the corner of the box he shot towards the far corner, bending it beyond Lomans, who was flat-footed, didn't move a muscle, and it seemed like Aston Villa were going to go in at half-time 1 goal to the good, but Manchester United had other ideas, pressing high, winning the ball back in the attacking third off Matty Cash. Dorgu pokes it into the box. Cunha on a angle which was rather tight, but still had enough of the goal to aim at. He whipped it into the top right corner. No chance for Emi Martinez, and it gave Manchester United an equaliser and probably a scoreline which is deserved for Amorim's side. As at the break at Villa Park, they go in all square with the scoreline at Aston Villa 1, Manchester United 1. But I will just have a quick break for half-time. I'll be back in around 15 minutes for the second half, but make sure you do return for second half live commentaries. At the moment, at the break, it's Villa 1, United 1. Hello, we are back for the second half of this game between Villa and Man United, and there is going to be a change, it looks like, for Manchester United. Lisandro Martinez is going to be coming on. Not sure who for. I'm not sure why. Don't think any of the centre halves have been booked. So it'll be interesting to see who comes off. Because Luke Shaw's played pretty well. I think Aidan Heaven's been more than competent in the middle of that back three up against Watkins. Yoro for the goal, yeah, not great. Defending against Morgan Rogers, I was pretty critical of that because he just needs to get a lot closer, especially when he's driving into the box like that. Just don't let him shoot because we know the quality Rogers has, but he did. And of course he scored a pretty impressive goal because of it, which was cancelled out right before half time. They scored in a very similar scenario in the game against Bournemouth, but Casemiro scored within, I think, the third or fourth minute of added on time in the first half to put them 2-1 up. This goal from Cunha was to get them back level at 1-1. Not sure who's come off for Manchester United. Could it potentially be Bruno Fernandes? We know he was struggling with a hamstring problem during the back end of that first half. And I think Martinez is probably the only one who could do a shift in that position other than Jack Fletcher, who's an 18-year-old central midfielder who's never played for the Manchester United first team. So I'd definitely be putting him in the deep end. Other than that, I know Martinez has previously played as a midfielder during his time at Ajax. It's been 322 days since his last start for Martinez, and that was a 2-0 home defeat to Palace back in February of this year. Just waiting for the Aston Villa players to come back out for this second half. They are in the tunnel. The fourth official with the board there, waiting to bring on Lisandro Martinez. The fourth official is Michael Salisbury. VAR is Peter Banks, who was also the VAR for the game between Newcastle and Chelsea yesterday in the half-12 kick-off. Here come the Aston Villa players. Don't think they'll be making a change. But things do need to improve for Villa, because I believe that Manchester United were the better of the two, really, in that first half. Especially being the away team as well, coming to Villa Park. As the suspense is absolutely killing me, because I can't hear what they're speaking about on the TV. They probably already know, and it is. Bruno Fernandes is being replaced at half-time. He stopped holding his hamstring with about 5 minutes of the first half to play, but he continued and he carried on playing, but he has not been able to carry on. So Lisandro Martinez is going to have to come on in a bit more of an unnatural central midfield position. He has played there before, maybe not in this system with this 3-4-3, but he has played as a midfielder, and he's going to have to step up. Of course, it's a completely different profile of player. Their creativity is completely gone. Within that central midfield, they're going to have to rely on Mount and Cunha a lot more in the more advanced number 10 positions to bring the creativity. But that's a massive blow for Manchester United. They have got to hope and pray that is nothing serious, that Bruno Fernandes hamstring problem. He doesn't miss many games for them, but he's having to go off at half-time in this one. We're back underway. Aston Villa kicking right to left in their home kit. United left to right in their away kit. Still with Aston Villa on the ball as they kicked off towards the central area where it's been cut out by Martinez, towards Mount, who just loses out to Maatsen. It's now with Martinez in the 6-yard box. Gets it onto his right foot and clips it forward down the centre of the pitch towards Rogers. Header won by Yoro. Flicked on by Agate. Well, as far as Maatsen, who's in a central position here, is going to send a right-footed ball over the top towards Watkins. It's volleyed away by Heaven and dealt with by Shaw, heading it to his goalkeeper, Lomans. Well dealt with there by the former Southampton defender. And moving and walking rather gingerly back towards the Manchester United bench is Bruno Fernandes. Big coat on, hood up. He'll be absolutely devastated. It's a huge loss. Cannot describe how big that loss is, because without him, I would worry for Manchester United. I don't think they'd be anywhere near they are at the moment without him. In terms of the last 5.5 years, you know, he's been at the club coming well over that. He's coming up to 6 years now. He's been at Manchester United, and I think without him, they wouldn't have been as successful in terms of winning FA Cups. Winning, just winning FA Cups, getting into the top four when they have in certain seasons. I don't think they'd be getting anywhere near that without him. So it's going to be interesting to see how they cope with him in this game, and then for the future, if he's out for any more than just the second half of this game. As Martinez gets it forward to Šeško, who left it for Cunha, but he couldn't quite control it. It's now with Cash, who was at fault for the United equaliser, spending too much on the ball, and then was dispossessed by Dorgu. In a similar position now, Cash, he just gets rid. It's a low ball to McGinn, who's drifted inside from the right flank and keeps it alive. Needs to get it moved, finds Anana, back into the edge of the box here to Lindelof. Goes across to Concert. Aston Villa's number 4. Red carded in the opening game of the season for Villa against Newcastle in that 0-0 game here. And that's the only game he's missed this season, the following game, which was away at Brentford. Anana forward to Tielemans, well cut out there by Dallo. Goes forward to Šeško. To Mount on the right-hand side, just inside the Villa half, plays a 1-2 with Dallo, then returns it to the wing-back. And then back into their own half to Lenny Yoro. Never played for the France senior team. Has played for the under-21s in their last 5 fixtures. Only turned 20 recently as well, this time last month. Turning 20. The Frenchman, bought in for £52.5 million from Lille. Of course, more one for the future, but he's already played 50 games now for Manchester United, just scoring the once, which was away in their quarter-final first leg against Lyon in the Europa League. Dallo, 15 yards in the Villa half on this near side, going back to Yoro. He's been forced to go back into his own half. Keeps it moving to heaven. Martinez out to the right to Mount. Space to run into. He's got Dallo free on the right side. Mount will get the crossing on his own, and Šeško can't quite reach it. He stretched. He slided. He slid, should I say. Couldn't keep it. Couldn't get the ball towards goal. Positive from Mount, though. He had space to run into and just continued to run. And the cross wasn't bad either. Just a bit too much pace on it for Šeško, who did stretch with that left boot, but couldn't make contact. Still 1-1, just over 4 minutes into the second half. Long ball from Martinez. Watkins heads it down towards Tielemans, who wins the ball on Martinez on halfway, then lifts it back through towards Watkins, who was caught as he played it. And that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa. Well won there by Yuri Tielemans. Spent 15 years coming through at Anderlecht before a 2-year stint at Monaco. Then 4 years at Leicester. 230 appearances now for Tielemans in the Premier League. Cash with the throw. Gets the ball returned to him from Kamara. Then back to the halfway line to Concert. Not being pressed at the moment. Aston Villa's number 4. Out wide it goes to Cash. Then inside to McGinn. Opening the body up. Trying to play it to the left. Finds Anana. Maatsen. Anana in the centre circle. Going back into Lindelof. He looks to be pretty steady in that centre-back position on his 200th appearance in the Premier League. Concert through the lines to Watkins. Lays it off behind him to McGinn, who's now right on that right-hand side. Back into Concert. Keeps the ball moving forward to Kamara. Cash once more, down the line to McGinn. Returns it to Cash, in the box, on his weaker left foot. Has the shot blocked. Deflects to Anana, now to Maatsen. About 25 yards from goal. Forward to Watkins, completes the 1-2. Maatsen in the area, surrounded by away shirts. Can't keep it, and it's eventually defended well and cleared by Dallo, who fakes the first clearance. Plays a pass to the edge of the box to Agate, then volleys it to the right to Mount. Good control from the Englishman, and he sets away Dallo after being caught. United still have it. And Dallo goes back into Mount, who's on his feet once more. It's in possession of Manchester United, who can go up to 5th with a win. Aston Villa can only close the gap to 2nd. They can't overtake anyone after Manchester City winning 3-0 at home to West Ham yesterday, and Arsenal winning 1-0 away late on I say late on. The game was late on in the day. At Everton, the goal was in the first half through a Gyökeres penalty. Cunha trying to switch the ball, comes right off Tielemans' poor selection of pass. And Onana goes all the way back to Martinez. Kind of gets away with one there. Mateus Cunha, who now tries to press Concert. Goes into the middle to Onana, then back to Martinez, being closed down by Mount. Shifts it to his left to Lindelof. It's now Maatsen at left back, facing his own goal. Try to turn, but then he's been tackled by Dalot. Same as the first half with the goal. Šeško crosses. Corner kick for Manchester United. Didn't punish them as much as they did in the first half, but that's identical to how United got their first goal. This time it was Ian Maatsen at left back, the one who was caught out. And it's going to be a corner for the away side. Scored plenty of goals from set pieces so far this season. It's going to be an in-swinger from the left foot of Luke Shaw. It just floats it towards the far post. It's a misguided header from Konsa. Straight back to Shaw, who delivers it back in again. Flicked away at the far post by Rodgers. Mount with the left-footed shot. Just dragged wide of the bottom right corner. Not far away there from Mason Mount, who's on 3 goals for the season. He's got 2 in his last 4 against Wolves and Palace. Scoring in the last 2 Premier League away games. He's now started 4 of the last 5 as well. He's getting a bit of consistency now, Mason Mount, which is exactly what he would have wanted after making just 26 appearances last season in all competitions, 16 of them in the Premier League. Injured between December and March, missing a big chunk of the season. It's with Aston Villa, who've lost just the once so far this season at home, out of their 3 Premier League losses, and that was 3-0 to Crystal Palace right at the end of August, when they were kind of going through that really slow, sluggish start to the campaign. As McGinn tried to play it through to Watkins through the middle, overhit, straight through to Lomans. They have only kept 1 clean sheet in their last 7, though. Aston Villa, despite going on this mad winning run. That 1 clean sheet came at the end of November in a home win, which was just by the 1 goal against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Yoro down the right flank for Dalot, who's adventured into the Aston Villa half. He's got options inside of Mason Mount, tries to go on his own on the outside of Maatsen, overruns it, and that'll be a throw-in in the final third for Manchester United. Probably should have played it inside there to Mount, who was making a nice little run, but Dalot fancied it there. And that's what Mason Mount's just telling Dalot, just slip the ball inside for me and I'll do the creative work. Yeah, Mount literally telling Dalot there, inside, which I think is the correct message. Dalot with the captain's armband on. Taking a long throw in from the near side. It's a huge throw. Header won by Onana. Straight back to Dalot. Gets onto his... Well, looks like he's going to get onto his left foot. Went for the outside of the right foot. Headed away. Cunha takes over from Martinez. Now Mount try to return it to the Brazilian. Just tackled in the nick of time by Rodgers. Now the counter-attack was on. Now it's not. Martinez wins it back. Wants to shoot from afar. And he just fires it wide. Not far away at all from Alessandro Martinez, who's having to fill in as a central midfielder after Fernandes went off injured. Wasn't closed down quick enough. Always just bending away from goal. Kind of went inside the 2 posts and then just curled outside. Had Martinez diving. Had the cameraman ducking as well. So Martinez sends it long. They're going for a lot of long balls. Not quite working for Aston Villa in this game. Especially with the 3 Manchester United centre-backs playing rather well so far. Just Yoro with the real lapse of concentration for the goal, where he just allowed Rodgers to cut inside too easily and get the shot away. 11 minutes into the second half, still 1-1. Very even game. I'm enjoying this. Manchester United clearly a better side than they were last season. Finished last season on 42 points. With this point, they're currently on 27. So I put them 15 points off matching their tally for last season. already 4 wins away from matching their win tally. They're on 7 for this season in the league. They only got 11 last season, 4 of them away. Only won 1 of their last 8 league games of last season, Manchester United. McGinn on the right-hand side, plays it into the middle. Great ball for Kamara. Tielemans is free through the left. Just played behind the Belgian. Still alive for Aston Villa. Tielemans one-on-one with the captain, Dalot. Twisting, turning towards the byline, gets a left-footed cross in, met by Watkins, deflects to Rodgers, who's about to shoot again! And that is brilliant from Morgan Rodgers. Back-to-back braces in the Premier League. The ice-cold celebration makes another appearance. But he is simply on fire for Aston Villa, who take the lead once again. Simply leaking too many goals, Manchester United, as Onana puts the crown on top of Morgan Rodgers' head. Scored twice last weekend against West Ham, which led them to 3 points. And once again, he scored twice. Both of them from that left-hand side on his right foot. Tielemans was the one who was just able to work the cross. Poor defending from Dalot. Got to get across to stop the cross. And he didn't. And the cross wasn't cleared well enough. I think it was Watkins who got the contact, but it went away from goal. And then once again, Lenny Yoro failing to stop Morgan Rodgers getting the shot away, which I think is why Luke Shaw was so frustrated when that ball hit the back of the net. Curling it again to the far corner. Doesn't get much better than that from Morgan Rodgers. Lomans at full stretch. Couldn't keep it out. And in pure ecstasy and celebration, Emery launches his coat up in the air. That is one special celebration from the manager. Rodgers at the double once more. And it's Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 1, with just over half an hour to play. Delightful from Morgan Rodgers. 2 really good goals. It's his first 2 goals against Manchester United. He's now on 7 for the season in the league. Scored 8 in the entirety of last season, so he's almost matched his tally for last campaign as United want to equalise quickly once more. Dalot in the box, right-hand side, onto his left foot, allowed to shoot. It's palmed by Martinez, straight to Dorgu. Big block from Matty Cash, who can't avoid the corner on the far side. But that's a huge block. Dalot receiving it from Cunha. Maatsen not quite getting across quick enough to stop the shot. Kind of bounced just in front of Martinez. That's why he had to parry it. And it was straight to Dorgu, who got a shot away with power. And it was Cash who got in the way. Not scored this season for Manchester United. Dorgu's not scored for them altogether. As the ball goes deep to the far post from the corner. That's a really poor delivery from Matheus Cunha. And that'll be a goal kick for Aston Villa. Has scored this season, Patrick Dorgu, but for his country, scored in that defeat for Denmark against Scotland, which meant that Denmark have to go through the qualifying stages of the World Cup, I believe. I think Scotland got the automatic qualification with that win at Hampden Park. Martinez again goes long. I say it's not working. They are 2-1 up, but I really don't think that's the way that they should be playing. I'm sure they've got the quality to play through this Manchester United team. Lomans with the long ball down the right-hand side. Mount's chasing it. Onana having to defend it. Goes down over the challenge. And that will be a Aston Villa free kick conceded by Mason Mount. Lindelof, left-footed, another high ball in behind Heaven, and it'll bounce through towards Lomans, who's having to kick it out of play because it was just out of his 18-yard box. So throw in the attacking third for Aston Villa. As Heaven stayed down, I think his boot just came off there as he was battling with Ollie Watkins. Back to his feet with boot back on foot. As Maatsen finds Rodgers again, that right foot tries to cross it this time. Header won by Shaw. Volleyed up into the sky and away by Dorgu. Headed forward by Concert. collected by Mount off the shoulder, says the referee, so play continues. Darrow on the near side. Try to get around Maatsen, which he does really well. Then pulled back by Maatsen, but the attack continues. Šeško to Dorgu on the other flank. Bit of space to run into. He's going to go for an early cross. Comes off the heel of Konsa. Back towards Dorgu, who's going to put Cash under pressure now. Cash lays it off to Konsa, who clears first time. All as far as Short, who gets it forward, but straight to McGinn, who then goes over the challenge. And that'll be a free kick for Villa, asking for a potential yellow card, because McGinn did look away there, but the referee keeps the cards in the pocket for now, not giving any cards out so far in the game. Michael Oliver. Aston Villa, again, going a bit more direct, but picked up in the centre circle from Martinez. Loads of time to then play a pass forward to Šeško. Lays it off into Mount, who just about keeps it away from Maatsen. Goes back into Darrow, who joins the attack. Darrow crosses, and across came Tielemans to block. But it deflects through to Yoro. Martinez clipping it into the box towards Dorgu at the far post. Heads it inside. Header won by Konsa. Picked up by Agate. Can't quite keep it away from Anana, who will then drive Villa forward. Plays it to his right to McGinn. He's got Cunha getting back to try and put him under pressure. But McGinn continues to run forward. Then Cunha slides in, concedes the corner. Couldn't quite stop that from happening, but really good defending from Matheus Cunha. Coming up towards a century of appearances in the Premier League, the Brazilian. This is appearance number 96. He scored his 32nd goal in the division. It's going to be an outswinger from the Belgian, Yuri Tielemans. He scored just the one goal this season. It was in their most recent Europa League game away at Basel, which they won 2-1. Goes for a ball low towards Rodgers, who gets the shot on goal. Kind of deflected up, and then it was a header block from Heaven. Straight from the training ground, that one. A low driven pass towards Rodgers, who just got away from his marker. 26 minutes of the 90 to go. It's Villa 2, United 1. 2 goals from Rodgers, the difference. Both goals either side of an equaliser from Matheus Cunha. Long ball forward, header won by Dorgu. Up towards Agate, who controls it well in his own half, but can't find Mount, but he was caught as he released the ball. Tielemans saying he dived. Obviously the referee disagrees. Don't think it was a dive from Agate. No, I don't think so. Caught just by Tielemans. Now Darrow on the near side. Playing the ball to Mount towards halfway. Martinez looking to find Dorgu on the left. Does find the Danish full wing back. Try to take on Cash into the final third. Play it back into Cunha, who from afar could fancy a shot. Does fancy a shot, but just goes wide. I say just goes wide. Good few yards wide that in the end. Usually better than that Manchester United number 10. Got the 19 appearances for Brazil, Matheus Cunha. Just the one goal, which was in a 4-1 away defeat to Argentina back in March of this year. Obviously, we're needing him to offer a lot more if he ends up going to the World Cup, if he's picked by Carlo Ancelotti. Martinez forward to McGinn, tries to help it on towards Watkins, and it's met by Watkins, not well dealt with by Shaw, but then McGinn tackled by Dorgu. Heaven caught out on the ball in the middle. Tielemans tries to send it forward to Watkins, and he does. Flag goes up. Thought he was just offside there, Ollie Watkins. Tielemans could not have played the pass any quicker. And someone in the crowd thinking that he's onside as he's on line with the assistant referee. Yeah, just went slightly early there, Ollie Watkins. Quarter of the game to go. It's Aiden Heaven on the ball in the back line for the away team. Martinez forward to Agate, who's just inside the Villa half. Finds it out wide to Dallo. Almost tried to play the pass inside to Mount, but just straight offside. So just went back inside to Martinez. It's now with Mount. Runners off the ball. He's going to go for the switch to Dorgu. Chests it well. Crosses well. To Cunha with the header, and it's gone wide. Oh, he's got to score. That would have been his second of the game as well. On a plate by Dorgu, who also assisted his first goal in the first half. Chested it straight into his own path where he could cross it. Nicely lifted over Ezri Konsa in the 6-yard box. Cunha with a free header. He's tried to just divert it to the far corner, and it's just bounced wide. It's simply got to go in. Amorim in disbelief. And it remains 2-1. Massive opportunity. It's probably the man you want on the end of that cross. Either him or Benjamin Šeško, because he's 6'5" and he has scored plenty of headers in his career. In the middle of the park, Agate goes late there on Kamara and picks up a book in the Uruguayan. Hadn't started any of the previous 10 in the league, Ugarte, and only made one appearance in the last 5, and that was off the bench against West Ham. And he's been thrown right in the deep end in this game. And he's picked himself up a yellow card. Picked up 15 yellow cards in all competitions last season, Ugarte. That's just his first of the season in the Premier League. It's now with Martinez in the 18-yard box as Villa start from the back once more. No pressure on him at the moment. He's been going long a lot, Martinez. And he's going to go long again towards Watkins. Header won by Heaven. Free header for Tielemans in the centre circle. Cut out by Agate as it went towards McGinn. Dorgu on the far side, keeping it away from Watkins. Caught by Watkins, no, says the referee. Poor touch from Dorgu. It's now with Watkins on the right wing, inside to Kamara. Got to keep the momentum of the attack alive. McGinn on the edge of the area. Cash is overlapping. Uses that for time to get himself across in. McGinn, he does. Comes off Dorgu. Corner kick on the far side. Dorgu arguing his case with the referee that he should have been awarded a free kick. Michael Oliver said no. And he's just going to have to get on with it. Patrick Dorgu, he's probably having one of his better games in a United shirt, especially going forward. But that time he got caught out. 21 minutes to go with the 90. Still 2-1 as Aston Villa look to try and make it 10 wins in a row in all competitions. It would be their 7th win in a row in the Premier League. In-swinger to the near post. Header won by Dorgu. Tielemans got the ball off Cunha, but there was a offside call within the attack. So that'll be a free kick for Manchester United. Even though they struggled defensively last season, Manchester United, they only conceded 54 goals, which is only 3 more than Aston Villa. And they did keep 10 clean sheets, 1 through Bayindir, and then 9 of the others came through Onana, who's now at Trabzonspor on a loan deal. And again, this season, they're struggling, conceding a lot of goals. It's now 28 goals conceded in the league, as United try and attack, but there's a hand used within that off Benjamin Šeško. As we're going to get a double change for Manchester United, and it looks like one of the academy prospects are going to get a chance to impress. One of the changes will be Joshua Zirkzee, who's got the 1 goal so far this season away at Palace. And then the other change is going to be Jack Fletcher, who is more of an attacking midfielder, so might be used as one of the wide 10s. Before that, United want to get an equaliser once again. Martinez, 25 yards out, lifts it to the right in the box to Dallo. Controls, plays it forward for Mount. The angle's tight, gets it across. Cunha trying to get the shot off, but it deflects off Konsa and into the very thankful hands of Martinez. But definitely feel a sense of frustration, Manchester United, because it's probably a little bit harsh. They are behind, but after the substitution from Amorim at half-time to bring off Fernandes because of his injury, it's just kind of give them an uphill battle as Dallo goes in the book. Just a left late one there on Maatsen. The foot was slightly high. Sure, VAR, Peter Banks will have a look at this. Ball was bouncing across towards Dalot. It went over his head and he's tried to just bring his foot up to control the ball, not knowing that Maatsen was chasing him down from behind. He only had his eyes on the ball there, Dalot. That is accidental, but the foot is high towards the kind of stomach and lower region. Common sense would prevail there. That is a yellow card. More so for the fact that his eyes were on the ball. There was no malicious intent. And it was slightly high, but not enough impact to cause, proper damage to Ian Maatsen. As we're going to get this Manchester United double change, and it will see Manuel Ugarte come off, just recently picked up a yellow card, and of course it's his first start since the end of September, and he'll be replaced by Joshua Zirkzee. So 2 out-and-out strikers on the pitch for Manchester United. This might see a change in shape for the away side, and the next change is we won't have 2 out-and-out number 9s on the pitch because it's going to be Benjamin Šeško to be replaced by Jack Fletcher, so it's probably more the other way around. I think Fletcher on for Ugarte and Zirkzee on for Šeško. So let's see if he can make an impact. Jack Fletcher, on his first ever appearance for the senior team. He'd been on the bench 8 times previously, but never got onto the field of play. This time at the age of 18, he is on the pitch, joined for just over £1 million in August 2023 after spending 9 years at Manchester City. Of course, he is the son of Manchester United legend Darren Fletcher. A current England under-19 international, did play a couple of times for Scotland's under-16s, but he's decided to represent England at international level. Let's see if he can impress Ruben Amorim, who's been slightly critical of some of the setup and the kind of arguments for why Manchester United academy prospects deserve more minutes. But we'll see if he can make an impact here. Cunha, caught late by Lindelof, says the referee. The Swede disagrees, but the referee's given the foul. Free kick for Manchester United. Yeah, I think just about a foul there. About 35 yards out, just towards the right side of the box, so a little bit of an angle for Mount to work with there, but there's not a lot going on in terms of a shot towards goal, and the angle's not great, so wonder what they'll do with this. Mount does swing a cross in towards absolutely no one. No one made a run to the far post. Mount wants a bit more movement in terms of those runs. But it will be a goal kick for Aston Villa, who are going to make a double change of their own. With 15 to play. The first one, we'll see Ollie Watkins be replaced. Got the assist for the second goal. Accidental assist. His touch actually went away from goal, which ended up being a nice little layoff for Morgan Rogers. He'll be replaced by Donyell Marlin, like-for-like change. Donyell Marlin also featuring in every game so far this season for Aston Villa. This is his 24th appearance. He's got 7 goals in all competitions so far. 4 of them in the Premier League. 1 in his last 5 when he came off the bench against Brighton. And it's another like-for-like swap. Luca Digne comes on at left-back for Ian Maatsen. No starts in his last 3 for the French left-back, but he's on for his 125th Premier League appearance of his career. Scored in that Unai Emery first game against Manchester United. And he also scored against Manchester United for Everton in a 4-0 win at Goodison, I think in 2019. If I've got my years right. There is Jack Fletcher on the left wing position for Manchester United. Tackled by Onana. Throwing in the final third for the Red Devils. Fletcher will put the ball down. Dalot will come across to the opposite flank as they're going to send a long throw in into the box. Got Heaven in there, Yoro's in there, Xerxes got a bit of height to him as well. Thrown in, long throw, straight to Martinez. Too much loop on that. Easily dealt with as Martinez wants to kick long, but instead he'll roll it to his right to Cash, who's got McGinn down the line, and he will play it to the Scotsman. McGinn towards the final third, chops in onto that left foot, then plays it down the line for Rogers, who's made the good movement to get away from Fletcher. Rogers, who's on a hat-trick, the angle's tight, clips it, far post towards Tielemans, comes off the back of his head to Mount, who can try and clear it. Gets it up to Xerxes, who tripped by Concert. Free kick for Manchester United. They'll want to try and get on with things if they can. But in the game, it's 11 shots each and 4 on target each. Makes a change to this meeting last season at Villa Park when there was just 1 shot on target the entire game between the two of the teams. Dorgu in behind in the box, will get there ahead of Cash. Not a lot of options there for him. Goes backwards into Cunha, across for Mount, takes the touch, then onto his left foot, shoots, which is then blocked off Onana. Straight to McGinn, who kicks it out of play, and that'll be a throw-in for United in the Villa half. Equaliser still a possibility for Manchester United. Euro on halfway. It's now Martinez, who's gone into the back line. Still a back three. Luke Shaw at left wing back, Dallow at right wing back. Fletcher is a central midfielder. Looks like he's kind of gone into central midfield with Martinez. It looks like they're being quite flexible. When they're on the ball, they go to a 3 with Fletcher in the middle on his own, kind of with Mount, Xerxes, Cunha ahead of him. And then when they're not on the ball, they'll go to a 4 with Martinez dropping in as a centre-back. Fletcher on halfway, lose that to Kamara. Then a late tackle from Kamara means it's going to be a free kick for United. No card, though, for Boubacar Kamara. Had an ACL injury in 2024 from February to October. Played 26 games last season in the league, scoring the once in their last home game against Spurs. As it's Heaven who gives it away straight to Rodgers, forward to Tielemans. It's now with McGinn in the United half. Shaw gets across to slide in and times the tackle to perfection. And it's now Mount forward to Xerxes. Try to hold the ball up, returns it to Mount. Now Martinez in the centre circle, keeping it away from Marlon. And in between the lines for Cunha. Now out wide to Dorgu, who's been one of the more bright sparks for United going forward. His cross is deflected off Cash, throwing for United. Is it going to be a long throw? It will. They're going to let Dallow come across to take it. Needs to be a lot better, though, than his last one. It looped too much and was too close to Martinez. It was an easy catch in the end for the World Cup winner. In it goes. Flicked on by Heaven. Asking the question of handball. Onana does clear. It's going to be another long throw. It seemed like it was only Heaven who was kind of asking for it. Let's have a look. In towards Heaven at the near post. Glanced on. No, if anything, it came off the arm of Xerxes, then kind of onto Cash's arm. Bit of both. Flicked on that one by Yoro. It's bouncing around in the box. Another question of handball from the United players. Referee doesn't indicate anything. Clearly didn't see anything wrong. McGinn gets it forward to Kamara on the edge of the box, who's brought down by Cunha, who is very frustrated with that decision. That will be a free kick for Aston Villa. Let's have a look at this handball once again. Looks like it's been waved away. Michael Oliver shaking his head. Let's have a look. Controlled by Cunha. Kicked by Lindelof. I think it came off the hand of Tielemans, but his hand was like placed on his chest like this. I don't think it came off his hand. I think it just came off his chest. I think definitely not handball. And play continues. Less than 10 of the 90 to go. Villa still have their lead. Looking to make it 10 wins in a row in all competitions. They have won 10 of their last 11 in the league. Which is crazy because they didn't score in their first 4 Premier League games. Their first goal came away at Sunderland, a cash goal on the 21st of September. And now they're right up there with Manchester City and Arsenal for the Premier League title. Break. The ball breaks to McGinn on the right. Plays it forward for Rodgers. Just cut out by Shaw in the defensive third. But he shows too much of it to Rodgers, who wins it back towards the corner flag. Plays it inside to Kamara. Is he caught by Fletcher? Referee says no. Ball does drop to McGinn, who finds Cash. Now with Annan about 25 yards from goal. Goes to his left to the substitute, Luca Digne. Forward to Tielemans. Digne making a run forward. Tielemans crosses it in himself, but straight to Senna Lommans. And it's United on the ball with 8.5 to play of the 90. Still 2-1 to Aston Villa. It'd be just their 4th win against Manchester United at home in the Premier League era. Their first since November 2022. Before that, their previous 2 wins at home to United in the league were in August 95 and November 92. As Mount on the right wing tries to cut inside, good defending from Lindelof, who then tries to poke it away. Needs help from Digne, doesn't quite work out between the two of them. It's now with Mount back to Yoro, who's got forward for the attack. Inside to Martinez, across to his left to Shaw. Bit of an angle for a delivery if he fancies it. He does towards Cunha over his head and Lindelof. Digne don't think it's going to be a goal kick. Oh, it is. And it's going to be a goal kick. Digne was chasing that down like he knew that the Villa man had a touch of that. I think we're going to get more changes as Cunha is arguing that case to Michael Oliver of why it should have been a corner kick. So we're going to get a change each. We're going to get 2 changes from Aston Villa and a change from Manchester United. So Amadou Onana on his 50th Aston Villa appearance after making his 100th Premier League appearance in their last game against West Ham will be replaced. And taking his spot will be Emi Buendia, making his 100th Premier League appearance for Aston Villa. His 29th birthday coming up on Christmas Day. And the second change will see captain John McGinn come off for Evan Gesson, who's had a late call up to the Ivory Coast for AFCON after Sebastian Haller's been injured and Evan Gesson was on the reserve list. He will be called up now. He will go to AFCON straight after this game. Ivory Coast have allowed him to play his final game for Aston Villa today, and then we'll go straight to Morocco for that competition. And the Manchester United change will see Lenny Yoro come off, who I think's been at fault for the 2 goals. Not good enough on Morgan Rogers. He'll be replaced by number 61, Shea Lacey. Finally getting his Manchester United debut. He's been on the bench 4 times so far this season in the Premier League. Yet to come on. He's got 3 goals for the under-21s, and he's making his debut for Manchester United at senior level. What a moment for the England under-20 international. As Rogers breaks away with the ball. Rogers for the hat-trick. It comes off the back of Shaw, I believe. Rogers was asking for the handball. I do think it came off his back. A third would surely wrap the 3 points up for Villa. 5.5 to go. Heaven still with the ball. Forward to Xerxes. Back heels it into Fletcher. Now out wide left to Dorgu in the Villa half. Villa having to just scurry across. Dorgu try to get away from Kamara. Plays it back to Shaw. Then forward to Dorgu. Tries to go to the edge of the area to Cunha. Cut out by Buendia. Cash towards the corner flag. Try to play it down the line to Buendia, who controls it and plays it forward towards Gesson. But it's away from the Ivorian. It's now forward to Cunha, who strikes from afar. Definitely caught it sweetly, but he was an easy save down low in the end for Martinez. And it remains 2-1 to Villa with 5 minutes of the 90 to go. Watch that all the way. Emi Martinez. As again they've gone long. The header from Heaven drops to Buendia. Rogers, tackled by Fletcher. Out to the left it goes now to Cunha. He's got Dorgu to his left, Xerxes to his right. Tries to look for Xerxes, deflects off Kamara. Corner kick for Manchester United. There was late drama in their game against Bournemouth in that 4-4 draw. This time it is Manchester United searching for the draw themselves. It'd be 3 draws in their last 4 league games if they are able to nick a point. Not lost in their last 5 away in the league. Mason Mount with the right-footed in-swinger. In it goes towards the centre of the box where it's caught by Martinez. Easy catch. And he rolls it to his left to Digne. Into the middle to Tielemans. Tries to play the pass, comes off Lacey, then just has to be hoofed away by Lindelof. Controlled by the Chester Heaven. And again, it'll be Manchester United to go again. Lost 4 of their last 5 league games away from home last season. United in that season, to forget that it was their lowest points total since 1990 when they reached 48. It was their fewest since 74 when they reached 32 points. Of course, reached the Europa League final but lost the final to Spurs. Beat Bilbao in the semi-final, Lyon in the quarters in very dramatic fashion, Sociedad in the last 16. Xerxes 1-2 with Mount, then out to the right towards Lacey, he's overhit it. No chance for the youngster to control that. And it will be a throw-in in the left-back position for Aston Villa, who are going to look to make another change. I think it's going to be Lamar Bogard to come on. The Dutch holding midfielder, just 21 years of age, spent a couple of loan spells at Bristol Rovers in the last couple of seasons. And it's going to be a like-for-like change. Boubacar Kamara, who has ran all day. The Marseille-born holding midfielder came through their academy before leaving on a free for Villa. He'll be replaced by Lamar Bogard, who can play right-back, centre-back, holding midfield. He's a very versatile player, and he's coming in handy for Unai Emery in the last few games. Not started any of the last 9. His last start was against Burnley at home at the beginning of October, but does come on off the bench plenty of times. Lamar Bogard. Digne with the throw. Towards Rodgers. Header won by Dallo. Tries to get it inside as best possible. But there's a foul on Buendia by Martinez, who tries to take it quickly. Cannons off the chest of the referee, so it's going to have to be retaken. So Martinez eventually takes that free kick. It's towards the corner flag on the left-hand side where it can't be controlled by Rodgers. It's going to be a throw-in for Manchester United, who are running out of time here at Villa Park. Villa's 6th win in the Premier League era against Manchester United. Dallo throws it. Headed on by Mount, but straight to Tielemans. Forward to Marlon, who's allowed to turn forward. Gesson making the run off the ball. Gone towards Buendia instead, who can't quite get there ahead of Dallo, and that'll be a goal kick. Seen out by the makeshift captain for Manchester United as Fernandes came off at half-time, which with what looked like a hamstring injury. Jack Fletcher on the ball. Goes back to Shaw. Inside to Martinez. Can't take on Bogard. Buendia tries to go back to Tielemans. Cut out by Cunha. The break's on. Cunha trying to be stopped by Tielemans, but he keeps driving with the ball. He still has it, Cunha. Tielemans just can't get him off it. Cunha eventually goes down, but Lacey takes over. Lacey left-footed. It was a good attempt, but straight down the throat of Martinez. Tried to whip it with his left foot into the far corner. Just too close to Martinez. It was really good ball carrying from Cunha. Probably unlucky not to get a free kick within the midst of that. But the kind of advantage was played with the Lacey shot, which went straight to Martinez. We've played 90 minutes. Cunha out to the left of Dorgu. 4 added on. Dorgu floats it in towards Lacey. Header won by Digne. Controlled by Lacey, but can't get there ahead of Rodgers. Goes back to Digne. Going to be closed down by Mount. Back into Rodgers towards the corner flag. Forward to Buendia. Digne clips it forward towards Rodgers. The ball bounces out of play. Throw in for Manchester United. 3.5 minutes to save themselves in this game. But Tielemans is down. So play's having to be stopped. Just looks like he's holding his rib cage there. Yuri Tielemans after a bit of a collision with Mount. Looks like he's going to be okay to continue. Unai Emery's looking for just his 4th win against Manchester United in his career. One of them was in a Europa League final back in 2021. Has lost 5 of his previous 6 against today's opposition. United have got it to their left flank with Dorgu. Tussling with Cash, but completes the 1-2. Luke Shaw brought down right on the edge of the box. Bogard goes in the book, but that is close to a penalty kick. Outside the box for Shaw, but living life on the edge there, Lamar Bogard. Easy for Michael Oliver to see, well positioned to give that free kick. Lamar Bogard, second booking of the season in the league. He'll take it if it means that Manchester United don't score from this set piece. It's on the left side of the box, so the angle's better for a cross. Mason Mount and Luke Shaw stood over it. They've played half of the additional time. Will it be the right foot of Mount or the left foot of Shaw? Mount strikes it. He takes it on and it hits the roof of the net. Not far away from Mason Mount, but just not close enough. Scored a brace away here against Aston Villa in October 2022 in a 2-0 win for Chelsea, and one of them was a really well taken free kick, and he almost replicated it, but just too much on it over the crossbar, and Villa hang on to their 3 points for now. A minute to go. Martinez taking his time with the goal kick. Big kick forward beyond the halfway line towards Bogard, who can't win the header there on Fletcher. Cash wins his header to Gesson. Now Cash on halfway, left-footed, kick up the pitch, headed down by Shaw to Dorgu, who loses out to Gesson, but the contact's too aggressive and the free kick's been given. Unai Emery demanding his team get further back, as Luke Shaw's been told to take the free kick further backwards. He plays it across to Heaven and then back out to Shaw. Ball will need to go long. Shaw sends it long out towards the right to Lacey, who tries to control it. Touches poor. Digne kicks it out. Throw in for United. Taken quickly by Dalot to Martinez. Forward towards Cunha, miscontrols the ball. Digne can clear it forward to Rodgers. We've played the 4 added on. Rodgers switches out towards the right side, cut out by Shaw, but then won back by Gesson. He will drive with the ball, but he won't have to go any further because the referee blows for full time. Aston Villa have won 10 games in a row in all competitions. Their ship just carries on sailing, as they are now just 1 point off City in second, 3 points off Arsenal in first, and as it stands, as they go into Christmas, they are well in this title race. The stats can just continue to be listed. 10 wins in a row in all competitions, 11 wins from 12 in the Premier League, just 2 defeats from their last 19 in all competitions. They are simply unstoppable at the moment. Unai Emery have got this Aston Villa team destroying their opposition every single time they turn up. A youthful Manchester United in the second half just could not cope without their captain Bruno Fernandes, who went off at half-time with a hamstring problem. The goal scoring started right before half-time. Morgan Rodgers from the left-hand side, cutting in onto his right foot into the box, bending it to the far corner, giving Villa a 1-goal lead right before the break. But in additional time of the first half, Mateus Cunha made it 2-2, as he scored on Monday night and also scored today. Dorgu winning the ball high off Matty Cash, and on the angle he wrapped it to the far corner. No chance for Martinez. That made it 1-1 going into half time. And into the second half, Bruno Fernandes went off at half time, which would have given Villa the push they needed to go on and win the game. And once again it was Morgan Rodgers to score. Ball went in the box, Watkins touched it backwards and it dropped to Rodgers in the area, who in a similar position tried to bend it to that top right corner. A second time he tried it. A second time it came off. Lomans this time did go for it with a dive, but couldn't get enough on it to keep it out of the back of the net. And even though United huffed and puffed and tried to get an equaliser, Aston Villa stood strong. Manchester United didn't quite have the strength. And at full time here at Villa Park, it's Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 1. Thank you for listening to the live commentary. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go. The next live commentary, I believe, is next Sunday, 28th of December. And the game I'll be covering is Sunderland hosting Leeds United. So make sure you tune in for that one this time next week. But here at Villa Park, Aston Villa are on one of their best runs in their club's history. 10 wins in a row in all competitions. 11 wins from their last 12 in the Premier League. They stay on the tails of Manchester City and Arsenal. 1 point off second, 3 points off first. They're well in the title race as it stands as at Villa Park. They get another 3 points. It finishes Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 1.